I'm Ray Hilborn. I'm a professor of fisheries and aquatic sciences at the University of Washington. Well, I've been running the Ram Legacy project for quite a few years, and increasingly recognizing the need to draw on the resources of people around the world to help us find data and make sure that when we do, we don't do something silly in the analysis. And at the same time, we've been collaborating on a number of projects with Chris Costello and with EDF people, and basically realized that we should have a more formal organization that takes advantage of the strengths of all of our groups to build this global network, build the databases that we've put together, and use that information to provide scientific advice on what's working in fisheries and what isn't. Well, probably the biggest is just to provide solid evidence of where fisheries management's working, the fact that fisheries are improving in almost everywhere. Well, in fact, in everywhere that fishing mortality rates have been reduced, that most stocks are rebuilding, that the common perception that fish stocks are in decline everywhere is clearly wrong, and we now have very strong evidence. I would argue irrefutable evidence that that's the case, and so we're hoping to change the general perception about the status of global fisheries. Some of the people, like Neil Andrew and Anna Palmer, were brought in specifically because of their connections in various parts of the world. So we're hoping that the steering committee members will help us find the people in their regions who know about the fisheries. And two people that weren't there, well, three people, Simon Jennings, who was here earlier but had to leave, was sort of our man in Europe, and Kevin Cochran, who wasn't able to come to the meeting, is the person who's got quite a bit of knowledge about African fisheries in general. But we need sort of a hierarchy of people who know about what's going on in the region and who to talk to, and then get in connection with somebody in each country. And then when we have questions about that country, they can point us to the people who know about it. Well, I would say that the main thing is that we've got a team of people who can provide the most authoritative scientific advice on what's happening in global fisheries and what has been shown to work to improve the performance of fisheries. That they're really, FAO is really in some sense, the only place that has attempted to do that, but FAO is quite constrained on what it can do because it really is a creature of its members, which is all the countries, whereas we're effectively an independent science group. And we can, if we see something that's not working, we can name it. Well, the developed world is a complicated place. So I think, as Anna told you, that many of the fisheries in the big industrial fisheries in South America are really very analogous to the big fisheries in the developed world, and the same lessons apply. And they're going down that road. I'm very comfortable with that happening. And China can do the same thing. China's got the national governance, the ability to do the kind of fisheries management system that we do in the developed world. So then at one level, those are the lessons that were highlighted by Pamela Mace. If you can reduce fishing pressure when stocks go low, if you monitor fisheries, you can sustain them in good shape. The other is a little bit more basic, which is just demonstrating that if you reduce fishing pressure, you will see fish stocks increase. Now, what we haven't talked about is whether catch increases. And the interesting thing is that so far there isn't any evidence for that. I should make that a little more. That if it's a single targeted species like Atlantic scallops, works great. You reduce fishing pressure, stock rebuilds, you increase catch. mixed fisheries of New England, the mixed fisheries of Alaska, no, we have not seen any increase. I think that's to a great extent because of the American system, which is essentially a weak stock management system, that something is always constraining the fishery. But that's an issue that we are struggling to figure out how to understand it. Well, clearly fish stocks are improving in much of the world, certainly much in the developed world. In almost uniform, big exception being the Mediterranean, and that is not a message that is understood in any sense by the majority of NGOs, probably the majority of fishery scientists, to tell you the truth, or certainly, let's say, marine scientists. So we want to get that message out, we've got the session on Wednesday afternoon in the Seafood Summit where we'll present some of the same material. But another objective here is for us to have, over time, for this group to be regarded as the place to go if you want to know about fisheries status and fisheries sustainability. And right now, there's just a whole diversity of places that people go to, whether it's Greenpeace's list or Monterey Bay or the Marine Stewardship Council. I mean, those are sort of filtered advice, but in terms of straight scientific advice, we want to take that role.